My name is Mia Vicino, and I haven't covered the Venice Film Festival yet, nor interviewed Robert Pattinson.
We always start with the...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we do a little hot take at the beginning.
What?
Yeah, a little icebreaker of sorts.
Hot take icebreaker.
Yeah, truly a hot take. Industry related, movie, anything entertainment related. What is your hot take?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, did you know this or are you?
No.
Oh
I
my
never
God.
tell anyone.
No, yeah.
It's,
okay.
That's why.
It
It's an icebreaker. On her toes.
You also don't have to...
Okay, no, I have one. I have one.
Oh,
Nice.
that's fast.
My hot take is I don't like the movie Vertigo by Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
why?
why?
It creeps me out. I don't find it compelling. Sorry, this is crazy. As I said, yeah, it creeps me out. I don't like the Jimmy Stewart character. I only like when he's suffering from vertigo. I think that's kind of funny. And I like the Midge character who's always like going like, stupid, stupid. But other than that, it just rubs me the wrong way. The treatment of the woman character, I can't even remember her name. Like, I'm not even qualified to be having this hot take because I've only seen it once. But I just like rejected it so violently. Like, I appreciate all it's done for the color green, but I'm just not a Hitchcock fan. So that's my hot take is I'm not a fan of Alfred Hitchcock except for the movie Rope.
I think that's okay. I
Okay.
think he's affected enough women in his life to
Right?
have that be a good take.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Thank
birds.
you.
And birds.
The birds.
And birds.
The birds gas station scene is cool. Like, I'll give him that.
I think it's the only thing I've seen is the Birds gas station, or no, the Birds thing in general, the movie, and that Vertigo shot where he's like down the staircase, and that's kind of cool.
Hey, like he's
That's
done
enough
some
for
cool
me.
shots. Hey,
That's enough for
I'll
me.
give it to him. He did some cool shots. He invented the dolly shot. Like, he's done some cool things. But I'd really like for Vertigo to be uncanonized because I think I wouldn't be as mad at Vertigo if people weren't like, this is the best movie of all time. Like, it's truly, it's considered one of the best ever. And I'm like, we need to calm down a little bit on that.
Yeah.
So thank you for hearing me out.
Just want you to speak your truth.
Thank you.
This is your chance. Was your chance. You did it. Mine is, well, I had a non-film related one, but I know this is not the space to talk about that one. But I'll just drop it in real quick. I think No More Corks. I think wines. I think we're using a medieval technology for something why not a screw top?
Isn't there like a science behind it?
I don't care. Screw tops only.
The
better
porous
or something. Yeah.
aspect of it aerates the wine. I'm guessing.
No, there's
Why, did you
something
break cork
about
recently?
that.
What
I
happened
don't
to
want
you?
to talk about it.
Did something happen?
Got stuck in a
They're
bottle.
I'm always wasting wine because I uncork it and then there's like a third left and then there's no way to I guess you could recork it.
I do
Yeah.
Whatever.
Buy a
I just do
stopper.
like little half cork.
I guess. All right, but my movie take one is no more characters referencing movies in movies.
Wow. Because it dates the movie? Is
It
that
dates
why?
the movie. It's like a waste. Like you're hinging this entire scene on the audience having seen this movie, which there's a good chance they haven't, and also like a character liking or not liking a popular piece of media. Like, isn't that doesn't do that much for the story? Like, I don't.
So you're really
something else
excited
in there.
about Deadpool.
I was just going to
coming
say, so should we outlaw Deadpool? That's another one. Well, it's not a hot take, but no, I shouldn't say that on a podcast.
Oh no!
No, I would say
No, this is the best.
No, I'm
place.
getting in
What's a hot
trouble.
take? You're supposed to. It's
I
supposed to
know,
be something
I
people
know.
don't agree
The-
with.
Well, this
the
one I
last
think that
person
people
said
agree
he didn't
with.
like Dune, so we have that to go off.
Okay. I just think that the Deadpoolification of America is one of the greatest threats to culture.
Wow, I like that.
I love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Please elaborate.
Oh my God, I don't want to be too negative.
That
No,
being
please,
like
I love
acceptable for everybody, like that behavior being acceptable, or it's
No,
not just Deadpool, but everybody.
yes,
can
I
do
think
that?
it's affected humor. Like meta humor, I think has gone down the toilet.
Oh,
Yeah.
It
agree
used
with
to
that.
be like kind of clever, like the Scream movies, like the early Scream. That's clever meta narrative, meta jokes,
yeah.
meta references. But now it's just lazy and juvenile and doesn't make you think. It's just like kind of pointing and winking and not saying anything. And it's making us dumber.
That's why I don't like people referencing movies because it's just lazy.
Yeah.
Like so you'll clap because you'll like that movie, you know? It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Great take.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it.
It ties into your take, which is why I'm sharing it. So.
All right, guys. What you got?
Producers need to butt out of reality TV. I'm currently watching Love Island USA this season, and I am behind. However, there is this one couple, Kayla and Aaron, and I want none of them on my screen. They are so annoying. Like, Aaron is just this, like, pompous guy that, like, for example, they have this challenge where they, like, say their body counts, like, which, like, they could lie, but, like, they are the ones giving the answers. So, like, his answer is above 150 women, which is, like, whatever. However, the thing that gagged me was then when he was asked, like, how many number of, like, body count of, like, your partner do you think is too much? Like, if your girlfriend's at this number, this is the number that is too much. And he said 10. I was literally like, that is that guy. I'm like, and so, like, then... Like, they go to this thing called Casa Amor, which is where, like, so they get coupled up or whatever. And so this guy has been with this girl, Kayla, for a while. And so they go to this place where all the men in the house and all the women in the house, like, are separated. And then they bring in a whole new batch of guys and girls at these separate things. And they have to decide by the end of, like, 4 days if they want to stay with their couple or go with these new people. And this guy is going crazy, like, doing all of this. And so the girl finds out, and then she immediately goes back to him. Like, it's, like, crazy. And, like, everyone in the United States that was watching this show is literally like, get them off. There's a vote. It's like American Idol. You can vote for, like, who to save and who to be like, this is America's bottom couple. And continuously, they are at the bottom, and yet they keep coming back. I'm like, why are they coming back? And it's like, that only has to be because producers are getting involved. No more of that. We clearly are wanting something, and the audience is speaking. America is speaking. What happened to that? Don't ask me for my opinion if you're not going to listen to it. I don't understand. I don't want to see them anymore. Like, it's just, like, so annoying. And this other guy, Rob, they just keep bringing him back, making him the victim. Like, stop it. I do not care for them. You do not have the pulse of what America wants. Don't ask me if you don't want my opinion.
Enough is enough.
Yeah. Isn't Love Island English, or do they have American version now?
They do have an American version. This is now
okay.
seasons, but yes, it is like the UK's like #1 reality. It's like people that are go on this show, it's like they become like bona fide celebrities, like actual celebrities, not just like influencer reality type celebrities. But yeah, now this season, apparently, though, it's like everyone's been watching, and I've never seen a season of Love Island before.
Okay, so this is why you have things to say now.
So this is why I have things to say now. This is like anytime before.
It's a late take, but it's...
If you witnessed the last, like, 20 years of reality TV.
Yeah. Also, to note, I've only started watching it. Like, this show's been on for, like, the past month. I've been been watching for the past week. So, like, and it's also, like, on every single day of the week except for Wednesdays. They like every night there's something on. Yeah. So I'm like, they're at the finale right now, which is like 30 something episodes. So in the span of this past week, I am at episode like 24.
Oh my God.
This has been my life. So I am passionate about it. And I like the way I just can't have them on my screen anymore. I'm like, my brain is rotting every single time I see them.
But it feels good.
To let it out.
To let it rot.
Producers, get out of there. I just.
You heard it here.
Don't ask me for my opinion.
That was
if you don't
raw.
want it.
All right,
so mine's less fun, but it's a situation that happened last week with the thing that Yannick and I were a part of. So this isn't really film related, but I think protocol and rules are a baseline of how you should do your job. It's a baseline. If there's a thing that you should follow it, and then you should see if this should relate to this specific situation. I'll give you the story. We had in this mall, we had to take some 8-foot wall flats that weren't fitting in this elevator, and we wanted to take it to another place to put it in the U-Haul. The security got involved and were terribly mad at our decision to try to find different places to put these 8-foot wall flats. And they're like, we gave you a designated spot. This is the only place you can do it. And it's like, well, it doesn't fit in this designated spot, and we don't want to keep these wall flats here. And it was just a constant back and forth to the point it took like something that was going to take about 30 minutes took 2.5 hours of just constant back and forth with the security trying to find out how to properly just get these wall flats out of there. And it's like I understand rules exist, and we had about 4 people watching us on cameras and people looking like following us as it's happening. But like, just we could have been out of there. We just could have been out.
It was like one of those, they want to go home right now, which understandably, but instead of just like wink nudge, get us out of there, they turned it into another like 2.5 hours of everybody having to be there. It was very, very annoying.
It ended up being a rat race of like wall flats go here, wall flats go there, wall flats go. And it was like
so sore.
if it just happened the first time, then the wall flats would have been gone, and then they would have continued to do the rest of their job and been happy, and we would have been out of there. But no, they had to keep on. So it's like, I understand they're doing the job and there's protocols, there's rules for a reason, but it's like, I just want to get out of there. I don't know. Not a hot take, just a thing I'm mad about.
Hey, you know,
It's actually
sometimes
just a venting
just a little
session,
vent.
actually.
Yeah.
It's just venting therapy.
Yeah, no, we're all just venting today.
There you go. All right, shall we do a little launch on in?
Yeah.
Yeah, launching.
Yeah, we're launching
in 3, 2,
1. This is the Indieknot podcast. I'm Yannick,
I'm Hayden.
I'm Sam.
and we're here with.
Mia Lee Vicino.
All right,
Hey, this
And-
is haven't made it yet.
that's right.
Haven't made it yet.
And today we're going to talk about movie reviews, all stuff in that direction. Mia works for Letterboxd and has had a ton of experience interviewing celebrities and being in that space. So Mia's going to teach us how to also run a podcast today, because you run a podcast that is much more successful than ours.
Oh, no. Come on, Yannick. Come on. You're being
All right,
humble.
equally
You're being
successful.
humble.
Equally successful.
Equally. We're all equal here.
Shall we start from the humble beginnings,
Let's
though?
start from the humble beginnings.
So where did you grow up? What made you want to join this crazy industry?
Oh, wow. Oh, the humble beginnings. Okay, well, I'm from Oregon. Hey, who else here? Who else here?
Me.
Yep.
No.
Oregon.
Looking.
Okay.
That's okay.
No, 3 out
That's
of 4.
okay. Hey, 3 out of 4. That's not
pretty
bad.
good, yeah.
That's not bad. So I grew up in Beaverton, a little suburb right outside of Portland. And then I went to college at the University of Oregon, Ducks. Hey, anyone else here?
No.
All right, 3 out of 4. That's fine. Look at that.
Hey, look at that. 3 out of 4 ducks.
Oh, that's so cute.
Aw. And I'd always loved movies, but I didn't really think of it as like a viable career, I guess, partly because you don't really see women behind the scenes very often. Hold on, drinking water.
Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. So it was just kind of hard for me to even picture that. Like, that wasn't even a consideration. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I loved watching Kill Bill at the age of 16. That was like the movie that got me into movies. And then I went to college. I studied journalism. I majored in just journalism. And then I discovered a little, it wasn't even an app yet. It was a website. I discovered Letterboxd. This was pre-app. This is when it was just desktop. And it kind of helped me discover like my actual very, very deep-rooted love of movies, like my cinephilia. And I started just like writing little reviews on there and like checking off all these movies that I wanted to see, and like slowly but surely like watching more and more and more films, and like kind of appreciating it more as like an art form than an entertainment thing. And then I added the cinema studies major. And well, here I am. I don't know.
When did that happen? Was that around like halfway through the year?
Yeah. So that was
Through the...
my sophomore year was when I added cinema studies. And I kind of, I don't want to say I did it as a joke, but like kind of. I was like, it'd be kind of funny.
It was a small major.
It was a small major, and
Yeah.
it also intertwined with the journalism major in a way that made it really easy for me to just kind of add it. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna add it. And then I just kept, like, throughout college, I used Letterboxd as a way to, like, practice writing and to find more movies and to study, and I just really, like, dove in there. And I was posting a lot, like, almost a review a day, basically. And then I accidentally started getting a bunch of followers on there. Did not mean to. I was truly just, like, getting stoned and watching movies and making little jokes. And then from there, I think I have like I have over 100,000 followers on there now, which is kind of scary. And that's why I stopped posting, because I got scared. But the cool thing about it was that it led me to getting a job with Letterboxd. I feel like I'm talking so much, but I guess that's what a podcast is for. That's what a podcast is for.
If we don't talk at all, then
it's really bad. It's a bad show if you don't talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I graduated college, I was back in Beaverton living with my parents. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was just working at Powell's Books part-time, just kind of chilling, saving up money, because I knew I wanted to move to LA, but I didn't know what I wanted to do from there. I was just like, I need to get to LA because that's where all of the cool theaters are. And I really love going to the movies and seeing old films, like not just new releases. Like, I love rep screenings. I love seeing older movies on the big screen and getting to enjoy them, like, with an audience, instead of just, like, in my parents' house alone on my laptop. So that was actually, like, kind of one of the main reasons I moved here, was for the rep theater scene and for the weather also. Love the sun here. And I moved here January 2020. So right before everything went to shit. Can we say shit on here?
Yes.
We can now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, right before everything went to shit. And I got a job at Amoeba Music. I worked there for 6 days before everything shut down. And I also, Yannick, got a job being a background actor through Central Casting.
I mean, yay.
Hey.
It's good. It's a fun time.
It ended up good because I ran into Yannick on one of the sets. We were both booked on the same show. Was it AP Bio?
It was, yeah. I just remember the locker rooms. I would not have gotten the name, but
yeah. We were both booked on AP Bio, and I ran into Yannick, and we were like, "Oh my God, hi! I haven't seen you in so long." So I was kind of like dipping my toe in the film world by doing that, and then also, then I worked at Amoeba Music. Everything shut down for a while, and then when everything kind of started coming back, I was working at Amoeba again, and then Letterboxd reached out to me. And they were like, "Hey, do you want to come on our podcast and talk about your 4 favorite movies?" And
this was because you had all those followers. They're like,
because I had all the followers. Yeah. Yes. So they reached out to me. I was very, very, very excited. I said yes. I went on. I must have done a good job because they asked me to come back on again with Adam Brody. Yeah.
No beg.
Yeah, it was like, and I'd never done a celebrity interview. Like, I hadn't done any of that stuff. I was just like, wait, you want me to talk to Adam Brody, like, on a podcast? Like, that's just confirming, like, of the OC. Yeah. They're like, yes. So I did it. I like kind of just, it wasn't really an interview. I just kind of talked with him about his new movie, and it was really cool. And then I guess I did a good job with that too, because then they asked me to co-host this new podcast called Weekend Watch List. And that was like every other week I would go on and just talk about the latest movies that were coming out. And then from there, I just kind of kept dropping hints like, hey, I have a journalism degree and I'd really like to be a part of your editorial division if you need that. Haha, just saying. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of kept doing that for a couple months of just like dropping insane hints.
But they were hiring you for months at a time, so they were kind of also dropping hints, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it was like, okay, we seem to be cool because you keep asking me to do stuff. So then they just kind of like almost created like this role for me called West Coast editor. And now that's my job, is I get to do interviews with actors and directors, all types of filmmakers, like even like costume designers and production designers and composers and basically everybody. And they send me out to red carpets and junkets. And it's a dream job. It really is. It's like what I've always wanted to do, even if I didn't fully realize that, because it seemed like I was like, there's no way, like it's really hard to break into this space. There's just so few jobs, and it's getting even worse. Like there's even fewer and fewer and fewer jobs. So I didn't even think that this could happen to me, and yet it did. So I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
it came from something you just enjoyed doing, just something that every day you wanted to do a little critique or review. And it's beautiful that, like, if you keep going, keep doing that thing you like doing, you might get that call. Yeah. That's cool.
It's really just like waiting around for an email that will change your life.
Yeah, but you weren't really even waiting. It was just something that you wanted to do. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I felt like I was kind of in limbo for a while, though, especially like when I was living with my parents in Beaverton. I really felt like, I felt like I was like at the beginning of the movie where you're like, oh, I know I can do something, but I don't know what it is. Like the Disney princess, like What I Want song, like at the beginning of every Disney movie. Not that I'm a Disney adult. That's another one of my hot takes, is being anti-Disney adult. But yeah. And now look I'm here, y'all.
There you are. Do you think that the fact that you moved to LA really helped you get the job?
Oh,
1,000%.
Yeah. Oh, that was like, I think a really big factor, to be honest, was just because there's so many opportunities here. Like this is where it all happened. This is where like pretty much
you gotta be
all
if you're
of
gonna go to the
exactly.
red carpets and all that.
Yes, like this is where they're made. This is where they're promoted. This is movie town.
Yeah.
So being here is probably like one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
I did want to talk slightly about like background. I feel like acting and casting, because I kind of forgot that you also did that as one of your first jobs. But like, I guess one of our main things about this podcast is just different paths to get into this industry. And I know when we were chatting, you were saying someone suggested that to you as like just a job to do when you first get out here. That was not even a realm of possibility or thought. It, like when I like came out here as like a thing. Like, so what is that experience like for those that might be interested, and or like, because I feel like acting in general is also just like a weird thing to think about when you're first starting, and something like you guys, I feel like when you're talking about it, it's just such like, oh yeah, it's a job. It's just a job. Like,
I feel like a lot of people don't consider that, because like acting is known to be like the hardest thing to get into, but in a lot of ways it isn't acting, and it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting. It's kind of just sitting in a room.
Getting paid to wait.
It's truly, most of it is sitting in a room and waiting to go on set, like truly. And I guess this is a little bit of an instance of who you know, because Yannick and I knew somebody from college who started working at Central Casting and suggested it, just as a way to like, make rent money, because it's hard out there. So yeah, I started doing that not even because I wanted to like get into acting, but because I just needed money. Yeah. And it was honestly, it's easy. It's just a lot of waiting, and it's not like you need to know lines or anything.
Yeah.
but I guess like, what's the process like? I guess more so like peel
What's
behind
the
the
process?
curtain. Like, what is that even like that? Like.
What was it, Yannick? Help me out here.
Okay. Well, we knew somebody there, which helped, but it doesn't really mean that you can't do exactly the same thing without knowing somebody there. It just kind of helped us get there or realize it was there faster. But essentially, you just sign up online and then you go to this building and they give you like an hour training of
right, they do.
How to like not be a crazy person, unless you need to be a crazy person.
Yes.
And they take your headshot, and then you pretty much just wait for a text that says show up at this point here and there, and it's just pretty much a lottery system, because they're just trying to match your look without any context, because that's all they'll ever get is your look. You're not saying anything to whatever scene that needs to be filmed. And a great thing about it that really appealed to me was it was an income stream that you could quit at any time without any consequence.
Yes, exactly. Very, very flexible.
So you can kind of, while you're in that waiting period, we're like, oh, what am I going to do? Or even if you know what you're going to do and are waiting for it to happen, you can make money without being locked into something that you can just dive in and out of at any time. like I got, even after I stopped doing it for like the next 2 years, I was still getting texts of like, hey, do you want to do this on a weekend? And sometimes I would just do it because I just had a weekend, and you can do other work while you're there. It's not like they're even going to look down on that. Like people just bring their laptops and are writing their screenplays while they're being paid to wait.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we were being booked for AP Bio because we were youngins. So it was a lot of, they really met. You're like, oh, what else did I do? I was on that show Lucifer.
Oh, wow.
In like the nightclub. Did you ever do Lucifer, Yannick?
I might have. That one sounds familiar. I don't think I did the nightclub.
I was in the nightclub scene. Yeah. Thank you for helping me out there. It was such a, like, I barely even remember.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't have to be memorable. Just has to be.
I truly, most of what I remember is just like, again, just like sitting there reading my little book. But part of what was so cool was that you got to be on the studio lots. So like you'd go to
Really
Warner
fun.
Brothers or Universal, and it felt like you were really in the business. Like especially at Universal, I'd be like, oh wow, I remember like being on the Universal tram, just like as a visitor, like a tourist at the theme park, and seeing everybody working and being like, oh, that's so cool. And now it's like in my job, I go to the Universal lot for work kind of frequently, to do interviews or to go to screenings, and I'll be just like walking around and a tram will come by and I'll be like, oh, now I'm on the other side. Like, look at me. Like, this is my job. No big deal.
It kind of is like a great, like, streamlined or like a fast-paced tour of Hollywood as a whole, because if you do it for like 6 months, you've been to all the major studios. You've been in all the major TV shows that are happening at the time. I remember being on Euphoria, which was like super long hours.
You got booked for Euphoria?
Yeah, and I would just like see like the sweaty ass director smoking a cigarette right outside the door, and I was like, oh, that's kind of humbling. Like we're all just kind of, in a way, it lets you see something that you like glamorizing so much and that feels so unattainable. You can kind of see, oh, it's still unattainable, but they're still sweating the same salty liquid that I am.
Yeah.
My mom used to work for Disney, and like the back lots of Disney, it was just like the Minnie Mouse smoking a cig in the back. It changes the whole look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do.
Glamorous.
And so you did acting in college too.
It's true.
There was a project I DP'd with Mia on.
Oh,
and
God.
I was wondering if does that kind of play a role with your podcast kind of?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I did all Duck TV in college.
Yeah.
Let's just say it by name. It was
Yeah.
called Duck TV, everybody. And I did act in a lot of them. I think I was in like over 50 episodes in total. Like it was a lot. That was
They're a hot
like
commodity.
Well, that's what I was like doing in my free time, and I loved doing it. And it has helped so much, not as much like so much as the podcast stuff, but when I'm on camera doing interviews, like on a red carpet or in a junket situation, anything like that. Like it's just having the on-camera experience is really helpful, so that you don't just like freeze up when the camera comes out. Like now I can be comfortable with it. And more water, one sec. Because you just have to really you do have to get used to the camera. It's kind of scary at first. But I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to get used to it. And then also what's helpful in a practical sense was like the audio of it. It was learning how audio works, so that you're not just like constantly, now I know how a microphone works. So I know like how to point it and how to make sure that there's no crosstalk, and just like little things like I know how to like wrap the microphone wire up when I'm out in the field recording something for work, because oftentimes like it's me, like I'm holding the phone camera, I have the microphone, I have the big cord, I'm like doing the settings and all of that. So that just having that onset experience, even though it was like kind of amateur onset experience in college, like that helped so much for like the broadcast journalism I do now.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue into talking about specifically these interviews that you do and like how you prepare for them, in terms of the questions you ask and what makes a good interview
I guess what's the preparation process?
The preparation process, again, it varies so much per assignment. But for example, when I interviewed Greta Gerwig and Martin Scorsese, I got lists ahead of time of the movies that they wanted to talk about. And then it was okay, I'm going to watch all of these, basically. Take notes while I'm watching. Think about anything that I'd want to ask them about. It's more about getting prepared so that you can adapt on the fly, because you don't know what they're going to say. There's no way to, you might know the movies that they're going to talk about, but you don't know what they're going to say about them. So you just need to do all the research that you can into the movies ahead of time, so that you can just make little comments during the conversation, so you don't look like you don't know what you're talking about, basically. Because they can tell when you're passionate and you know about the subject. They really are just so much more engaged, and they're not just going through the motions. Because another thing is with these press junkets, they're doing so many interviews in the same day. They'll do a press day, it's 1 or 2 days, and it's just for 8 hours straight, just constant answering questions, constant answering the same questions too. A lot of people just asking the same kind of boilerplate questions of them. So being able to surprise them and come up with a really creative question is pretty fun. Being able to just surprise them with a creative question goes a really long way. So that's part of my preparation, is coming up with questions that, not everybody's going to ask them about, I would say. Yeah.
And how would you think, how would you come up with that?
Yeah, what I like to do is I'll look up interviews that have already come out with the subject. For the Martin Scorsese interview, I remember just typing Martin Scorsese into YouTube and watching every recent interview that he'd done, especially the long form ones. There's hour-long BFI ones where they're just talking and talking for an hour straight, and you glean so much information. You find out what they like talking about, what they're kind of shyer talking about, that they don't, they don't really like answering certain questions, but then they love answering other ones. So just, doing that research into past interviews is super, super helpful. That's kind of where you find the good nuggets to unearth, and you can come up with more interesting questions that are more tied to their interests and personalities.
Yeah. Do you have, I'm sure you're very nervous going into these giant interviews. Do you have a process of how to reel yourself in those moments?
Oh, yeah. So my very first junket was for The Fabelmans.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first one. And I remember being so nervous. I was going to talk to Paul Dano. I had 10 minutes with Paul Dano. And it's... So to set the scene for what a junket is it's usually at a big fancy hotel, the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. And they've taken over almost an entire floor. So it's go to the 14th floor, and it's all decked out. There's posters for the movie and everything. And so that's kind of oh wow, I'm really here. Those are all the Fabelmans posters. And then you kind of go and you sit in a room and wait. And there's also often free cheese, which is kind of one of the most thrilling aspects, is you get a lot of free cheese.
Yet another reason to get into
It's kind of the main reason is the free cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah, the junket cheese. So I just sit there. I go over my questions in my head. I look at my notes. I eat my cheese. I used to take half a Xanax. I don't have to do that anymore. I remember taking a Xanax before Paul Dano. But but mostly just going over the questions over and over again before. The nice thing is they ask you to get there super early, which I like, because then it's okay, I don't have to go I don't get there and go straight into it. I have time to kind of collect myself and eat my cheese, drink my water, make sure I know what I'm doing. So that's kind of my process, I guess, is sometimes having to take a Xanax and sometimes just going over the information. Oh, also another thing I like to do is I'll bring my notebook and I'll write the questions in my notebook just to cement them in my head, because writing things down just helps them sink in there. So that's another thing that sometimes I'll do is just write them down, even though I just use my phone during the interview. I'll go in my notes app and but
I think if you're a visual person, for me, it's like if I've written it, then a visual memory will kick in, and I don't even have to like remember what I wrote, just like the way it looked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So I know that trick.
Yeah, that's what actors do for like memorizing lines too. I feel like when I did like theater in high school, I would in class I'd be bored and I would just write my lines down in my notebook instead of paying attention in class.
Yeah.
Which actually
It worked out. Yeah.
It worked out well, I will say.
Yeah.
So when you're at these junkets and like at these red carpets, how hard is it? I guess because it's a bunch of like other outlets there too. Is that ever something that you have to deal with too? Is that like I feel like confidence wise and just like getting like I know like I guess you were taking half as Annie.
Yeah.
But like
Anything's possible.
I'm sure you're seeing like the same people, or is it just like what is that kind of environment even within like that world of like networking, or just is it very supportive, or is it very like individualistic because you're essentially trying to get the best interview, right? Like compete, or I guess is it like that, competing for the best interview?
I feel like, okay, so when you keep going to the junkets, you kind of start to see the same people in like the holding rooms where you're waiting. And I have found that it's not, I mean, like maybe it's privately competitive, but like I just kind of sit down at the table and I'm like, hey, what's up? And you kind of like compare notes, or like, you know, they'll go in for their interview and then they'll come back and you'll be like, how was it? And they're like, oh, it was so great. Like they're in a good mood today. Or like they gave me a lot of really great answers like this and this. And then you kind of go over it with them. And it is like a little bit of a community because, everybody's just like a little bit nervous. No matter how many times you've done it, there's still a little bit of that nervousness there. So it's nice to have other people who are kind of going through a similar thing. And so I have found that it's pretty supportive, especially at carpets. So carpets can really, really vary. Like sometimes at like festivals or smaller carpets where there's only a couple other journalists, that's when you can really take your time and like talk to the people on the carpet for like or the actors and the filmmakers for like a while, and you can talk to them for like 5 minutes. But then when it's like a super, super crazy event like the Hunger Games premiere, you're all, oh my God, there's so many journalists just like jammed in there, like packed so tight. And it's like hard to even like get a good angle to film the people because you're like little sardines in there and like you're getting jostled and pushed. That's when things get a little bit more competitive, is when the stars are right there and it's like, oh, I need to get the right shot. Right. And sometimes they'll like also group you together. So like a publicist will be like, hey, we only have time for like one question. So you guys can all point, like you 3 outlets all point your microphone and only one of you gets to ask a question and then you can all use it.
Oh, okay.
So that's happened before, like on the Saltburn carpet with like Barry Keoghan. Their publicist is like, okay, only one question. Like you guys are all going to have to work together to figure it out. And luckily the people next to me were familiar with Letterboxd and our 4 favorites question. And they were like, you can ask your 4 favorites question.
Oh, so
it was really nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Then we got to get his 4 faves. And then, so then they also get to use that too, because their microphones are all there. So it's like kind of a mix of like, it's like 90% supportive with like a little bit of healthy competition, which like makes sense. It's like everybody wants to do a good job for for their company, you know, like it totally makes sense. So
that's nice to hear. Mm-hmm. I feel like it can get intimidating. I was always like curious.
Yeah,
and it's like in the game, like.
Yeah, and oh my God, we had this crazy, like I mentioned Saltburn and Hunger Games. There's this one week after the SAG strikes ended, so, you know, premieres were happening again. And one week it was 3 premieres in one. It was like Hunger Games, then Saltburn, then May, December, all in the same week. Right. And I would see the same people at each one. It was so funny. I was always next to the same guy at each thing. And we really like bonded after that. It was like Hell Week, like in school, but for carpets. Because it was really funny. And now I've like made some friends because again, a lot of it is just kind of waiting for the carpet to start because you get there like an hour early. And it's like, well, I'll make small talk with the person next to me, I guess. And then you kind of make a new buddy because chances are they have similar interests if they're also doing like film journalism. I've met some cool people. I
have some questions regarding your own review tastes. I remember you used to say that.
Whoa, what are you going to say? Yannick.
I have a lot of incriminating information.
You really
on you.
do. No, yeah, he really does.
No, but maybe this is one of those pieces of information. But one of your favorite movies used to be Pulp Fiction.
Yannick,
I'm
please.
sorry, but hey, we'll work our way back from this. We'll get back out. But you used to always say that you kind of hate that it's your favorite movie because of the audience, like it's like super film boy movie and all that. So I'm just wondering what for you is like a 5-star movie, and does an audience's reception of that movie affect how you rate a movie? I guess this is kind of a broad review question, but what's a 5-star movie for you?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. I have to have some water before I answer it. First off, yes, I do remember when Pulp Fiction was one of my favorite movies, and I remember saying that like I needed a shock collar that would shock me every time I wanted to rewatch it.
Speak your truth.
Yeah,
Live your truth.
that is my one comment on Pulp Fiction. So a 5-star movie to me is can I actually take out my phone and look at my 5-star movies so that I can?
I noticed that Pulp Fiction is no longer on your top 4. So
It was never in my top 4, to be clear. Kill Bill was.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Kill Bill Volume 1 was totally in my top 4 for years and years. I still love that movie, but I haven't seen it in years. Like I haven't watched it in 3 years, and I don't really revisit it. But it was the movie that got me into movies.
Like you were saying, yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. But yeah, I felt like I quote grew out of it.
Yeah.
But still, if you put it on, I would like watch the whole thing and be like, oh my God, this is the best movie ever made. But I like to think that my tastes have gotten a little bit more sophisticated now that I've seen almost 3,000 movies. Okay, let me pull up my 5 stars.
Ooh.
Yeah, because you can, on the Letterboxd app, you can sort by how many stars that you gave something.
Is a 5-star, as far as ratings go for you, 5 is magnificent, it must be a masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, yes, 5 stars, that's a perfect rating.
What would be 4 stars?
Oh, well, I just watched Witness by Harrison Ford, starring Harrison Ford. It's by Peter Weir. Witness by Peter Weir, starring Harrison Ford. And that's a 4-star movie because like I think it's very well made, like great performances, great cinematography. It's a story that is very compelling, and the script is structured really, really well and intelligently. But I guess it's not a 5-star because I don't like there needs to be some like almost psychic connection between me and the movie. Like it's definitely subjective. I think there's no way to be totally objective about rating things. I just don't think that's possible, and I think it's not something you necessarily need to aim for when you're rating things. So there's definitely a little bit of subjectivity, a lot of subjectivity with my ratings. But a 4-star, hey, that's a great score. I think most of the ratings I give out are 4 stars according to my little chart. So that just means like very competently made. I'm not necessarily going to rewatch it, but I'm glad I spent 2 hours with it.
Yeah.
A 5-star means that like I have to have like again like some psychic connection to it. Like it has to really move me. Like do I feel emotionally moved, or am I laughing the whole time, or am like something like that? Like what's the intention of it, and has that intention come to pass, I guess, in my viewing experience of it. So like some of my 5 stars, hey, Challengers was a 5-star for me. I saw that 3 times in theaters, I'll say. Oh, that's another part. Wait. Let's get into the hearts. You guys know about how you can use a heart on Letterboxd?
Yes.
It's a like, right?
Yeah, it's a little like.
I used it today.
See, what'd you like? What'd you click like on?
I remember Hayden was watching Samsara, which is this like
My new cologne.
And it smelled so good.
I had to like it.
It's like this movie without any dialogue, and it's just kind of documentary style, visual art movie. And I remembered having seen it and loving it. And that's kind of how I use Letterboxd. I'll think of a movie and be like, I want to remember this movie, and then I'll make sure I have it added on there so that I can find it again. Yes. And I liked it because it's a 5-star movie for me.
Yes, yeah. So I use the like to signify more that like one, it's tailored to my personal interests, and I would rewatch it if given the opportunity.
okay.
So that's kind of what the heart signifies. We're really getting into the theory of this.
IT or Letterboxd.
What's your Letterboxd meta?
Well, I really do think a lot about my ratings because it's like I know a lot of people are going to see my little rating, so I
Yeah.
need to.
No, it's huge.
Pressure's
It's
on.
like sometimes like I really enjoy a film and then I give it a 3.5 stars and everyone's like, "Why didn't you like that?" It's like, no, I
No,
did.
3.5 is a fine rating.
Yeah, but
That's
it's just
Yeah.
everybody's rating is very, very skewed differently.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, a 5-star to me, yeah, it's got to have some personal thing like Mamma Mia. I'm listing like challenges in
go
Mamma
again.
Mia. I like serious movies
I did
too. I
notice that
promise.
about your Twitter for sure.
Yeah.
I was like I was waiting for you to mention Mamma Mia specifically. Like if you were not going to
Yeah.
mention it, I was going to mention it based off your Twitter feed alone.
Mamma Mia is one of the most important cinematic masterpieces that has ever come out. And that's the thing. Like Mamma Mia can be a 5-star film even though it has many glaring flaws. Like there
But you're not wrong. It is a 5-star.
But it's 5-star. Like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
It's
perfect.
so correct.
The entire runtime, I am watching it with like the biggest smile on my face, like bopping around, so happy. Like for an hour and 45 minutes or however long it is. Like I am truly the happiest I've ever been. I just saw it at Cinespia.
That's such a fun place to watch that film.
It was
too.
so special. Like at the end of the movie, everybody like got up and started dancing around. And it was like, there's just so many like women and it just was such a beautiful community. And again, part of the reason why I moved here was because so many movie lovers are here. And like that community is very, very beautiful to me. Yeah.
Do you have a 0-star rating on anything?
Oh.
A 0-star. Well, sometimes I don't rate things. Do you mean like half a star?
A half
or
star, I
Yeah.
guess so. I don't
I've
know
only
if you
busted
can.
out the half a star, I think maybe 8 times. Like,
Okay.
I'm really not giving out half a stars because it's like, it's hard to make a movie.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
really tough.
hard to make one. Like,
Share
Yeah.
one title that half a star.
oh, yeah, I can do that. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, if you've made
Lowest
anything
rating.
movie-wise, you're like
It deserves at least a half.
No, exactly. It's
one
like,
for completion.
yeah, like one for like you finished it.
D+.
Great job. Good job.
Try it
Like,
again.
Proud of you. Proud of you no matter what. Oh, okay. Half a star. Do you guys know the movie Life Itself? Not the Roger Ebert documentary. It's
I don't think so.
with Oscar Isaac, Olivia Wilde, Antonio Banderas.
Oh, no, I haven't heard
No.
of this.
It begins with Annette Bening getting hit by a bus.
Already not loving that.
This movie's evil.
Oh, no.
I
and then what's the median rank?
2.9.
2.9.
That's pretty high.
That's
pretty actually
high.
really high considering.
It's a hot take.
Yeah, I can't even get into you guys. Like honestly, watch it. Like I actually think you guys should watch it. It's streaming on Prime. Check it out so that you can join me in hating this film. Pulp Fiction actually plays a part in this film. They go to a costume party and they dress as the Pulp Fiction characters. So if you'd like to see Olivia Wilde as Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction, this is the film for you. But no, to get a half star, it needs to be like offensive to my spirit. Like,
And this did that.
yeah.
The Pulp Fiction thing probably didn't help.
No, it did. Oh God, it's like Oscar Isaac he's playing a college student, first of all. And he's like, this came out not super long ago.
Oh,
like
no.
Oscar Isaac is playing a college, like
Still has full
screenwriting.
beard.
Yeah, he's like a
Graying
screenwriting
beard.
student. That's why, and he's obsessed with Tarantino. And oh God, I can't believe I'm talking about this. But he's just like a very annoying screenwriting film bro guy. And seeing Oscar Isaac like that was really difficult to watch because I really like him.
Yeah.
So that's part of why it was so offensive to my spirit, was that they did that to him. They shouldn't do that to him.
Well, I like the connection that you have where it has to mean something to me. Like
Yeah.
this is it could be a good film or bad film regardless, but at the end of the day, it has to connect with you. And I like having both of those together in your rating system. Like that is true. Art is subjective, so you need to have that in your rating.
Yes, exactly. Like the ideal thing would be it's made immaculately and there's like cats and girl punk in it, and then you're gonna get a 5-star from me. If you have a cute cat in your movie and you have like girls rocking out and being weird,
Thumbs up.
I'm in.
Mia bait movie.
Yeah, that's Mia bait. That is Mia bait.
That's funny.
So going back to like an actual pivoting to back to like the review itself, what do you think makes a great review for Letterboxd?
Oh, that's an awesome question, because I know that there's a lot of just like very, unoriginal one-liners out there that can kind of bog down a film's page. And like I used to be guilty of that in the beginning because it didn't matter. It was like there were a lot fewer people on the site and the stakes were a lot lower because it wasn't as much of like an industry tool. It was just, it was kind of niche. It still is kind of niche, but it was like even more niche. But now it's like the odds of like a studio seeing it or, somebody like a notable person seeing it are like a lot higher. So I feel like the standards have gotten higher as well for the reviews. And personally, I think a great review is one that is, let's say it's like 2 to 3 paragraphs long. You got to have some thoughts in there, and it's like it's a combination of like being fun and witty to read, like kind of the spirit of the one-liners, like having fun with it, but also having an insight into the film that might be like specific to you, like what are you bringing to this review that other people couldn't bring to this review. So that's some of my favorites, the ones that are like fun to read but also like have something insightful to say about the movie itself. And you know what, we can go even shorter than 2 to 3 paragraphs. It could be 1 paragraph, F it, whatever. Yeah. Like a 1 paragraph that's just like witty but also insightful. Perfect. Like I have to pull a lot of reviews for like the articles that we write or, certain, just things like that. And so sometimes my job is to like go through a film's pages, like review and pull out certain sentences. And that's kind of what that's what I'm looking for, basically. So there, if you want to get selected, be witty and insightful.
Do you have an example of what you mean with something that you can uniquely bring to the review?
Ooh, that's another good cue. It's hard for me to think of something off the top of my head, and I would feel, I feel like egotistical citing myself.
Those are
the reviews that I know. Like I just know my own reviews. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But again, like sorry if this is ego-y, but like my past lives review, I talked about kind of like being single for 10 years and like how this movie articulates just kind of like this loneliness that I found very profound, I guess. So like tying in like, like some personal aspect of yourself. You don't have to like, spill your guts or anything, but just like something like that where it's like, this is my perspective, like this is my life perspective. And this is the film's perspective, and tying those things together into like a personal review. I really admire that, and I like reading those too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
A 5-star movie.
Oh God, that movie. Ouch, ouch, in a good way. Ouch, in a good way.
Yeah.
Made me sob. I saw it. So I went to, the only time I've ever been to Sundance was when it came out that year. It was the last movie I saw at Sundance. This is nothing to do, all to just do with my love for past lives. But all to do with the boohoo of past lives.
Yes.
Because you're like sobbing at the end. At least I was.
Same.
Sobbing at the end. But like Sundance, because they're like, we're on a schedule. It was like one of the last screenings. So they immediately like, as soon as like the credits like directed by Stealing Song, like whatever, lights on. Everyone.
No. No.
Lights on. I was like, I was like sobbing.
Oh my God, a similar thing happened to me. Like I just went to a press screening of it like here, and I went with my coworker who's my producer, and at the end of the movie I was like catatonic.
Yeah.
I was like, because I didn't want to be sobbing because I was like at work in front of like somebody I work with, and also like strangers who were also like random
peers,
journalists and like PR people. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot sob in public but I have to be normal. And so we like walk out, we start walking to my producer's car. And I'm like, just like, ugh, like shaking. And he's like, so like, what do you think of the movie? Like, how do you want to cover it? Like, who do you want to interview? Da, 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 da. And I was like, I can't think about that at all right now. And I was so weird on the car ride back. I was just like looking out the window. Like,
it was like performance art review.
Yeah, truly.
You're acting out your.
Like it's like breakaway Kelly Clarkson, like one raindrop down the window. Like you're kind of like that emo where you're literally like.
I like felt
shaking.
Yeah,
I
felt like that emo like in my producer's car. Like,
yeah. No, I get it because that's exactly how exposed I felt afterwards. Just being like, I have to go to the airport.
Yeah,
after this, and they didn't let me have a second.
Yeah, no, oh my god.
Sorry, yeah, that just immediately brought me back to the moment where I was like crying after Fast Lives, being like, oh god.
Hayden and I watched it together, and I think we were both crying, but without knowing each other were crying because we're just like, I can't look
like,
over
don't
it.
touch
We were
me.
both just glued to the TV and be like, I'm not
If
not
I
gonna
look
at
over
this
and he's
person.
not crying, then I'm gonna have to talk about it.
I was crying.
Oh my god.
I was bawling.
No, yeah. And
So
also
good.
like Celine's song was the person that I was like most flustered to talk to during that awards season because I was like on the awards beat since I'm in LA. And so I like encountered her multiple times throughout because I was such a big awards contender. And like she was definitely the person I was most flustered to talk to, even though like it was like her first movie. She is new on the scene. She's not like a celebrity, and all these like celebrities, like, like Bradley Cooper is walking in front of me and I'm like, I don't even care. Like Celine's song is making me feel insane because I have like a talent crush on her because I just think she's phenomenal. And that was, I do think back and I get embarrassed about how flustered I was in front of her a couple times. But it's just because I think she's cool. I feel like I get more flustered around like women I really admire than other people. Like I was so normal in front of Colin Farrell. I was so proud of myself. I was extremely normal.
And you're a big fan.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I love Colin Farrell. To be clear, like he's one of my very favorites, and I got to meet him like a couple months ago, and I'm still very proud of how normal I was. Yeah. Yeah. No big deal, but
He's like, that girl is so normal.
so normal. So normal.
Normal.
You're fucking nerd. I just love the way they
Fucking normal.
Fucking normal.
Doesn't he say that during a sex tape or something?
No, hey, he says breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I couldn't quite I just have a couple like out there questions, just
I'm ready.
towards
Lay it on
bigger
me.
thoughts here. So my first one was, there's always these stories of like some of these filmmakers I remember hearing in college that had never watched a movie before and then made a movie, and it's like the weirdest thing ever. And when Werner Herzog is like known to never watch movies, but then Tarantino is kind of on the other side of it, where he's like a huge movie buff. And I know you wrote a feature, The Screwdriver.
Oh, not really.
Okay, well, not really. Okay, but you do write.
I do write. I am. Yes.
And the point being, do you think it's harder to write something or what are the challenges of writing something when you know so much about movies? Like, are you falling into any pitfalls there? Do you think that's a challenge?
I think it's the opposite. I think that watching so many movies helps me because it teaches you not only what to do, but what not to do. Like when you watch something and you like don't like the script or certain tropes or anything, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure to stay far away from that in my own work. So I think that I don't understand how filmmakers who don't watch movies make films. Truly. Like, I feel like all of my favorite ones are like total cinephiles. Not to say that, I mean, Werner Herzog is incredible. He ate his own shoe once. He's great. He's great. Like, love him. I don't understand how he doesn't watch movies. But I really think that knowing film history, like older films specifically, is a great boon for screenwriting because those scripts, particularly the ones from like the 30s and 40s, like screwball comedies, they're so strong and they use such interesting language and structure, and it's like it's both natural and unnatural at the same time. Like, it's stylized, but they're also real people. It's so interesting, and I think that studying those scripts like is only beneficial and not, I guess, a challenge.
Okay. Cool. It's just a one-off. I was just curious, you know.
As I said, like you find things that you don't like, but then you also find things that you really like, and that you're like, oh, I kind of want to do something like that, but put my own twist on it. Like, for example, I love in movies when like somebody gets injured and then like the romantic interest has to like fix them up. Like, has to like sew up their wound, or like they're sick and then somebody else has to help them, like Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
And like I love that shit. I eat it up. So like the more I see that in movies, the more I know like how to do it effectively. Yeah, to subvert it, to do it effectively, to like avoid certain things about it. Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
My question, I guess, also is like, so your job, I feel like, is not typical in the sense that you are going all over the place to different events, but also, so that's a very glamorous side of the job. You also do a lot of print work too, because I guess you're writing articles. Just as a whole, like in terms of a journalistic view, I feel like we're so digital heavy. What do you think, I guess, in your perspective, in terms of like print journalism and that kind of mindset, where do you think that's headed towards? Do you feel like it's all going to be digital or nothing? Or do you really feel like, I guess, what's your viewpoint on that, being in the thick of it?
Oh man, I would love for print to survive. I think that there's something so special about having like a tangible magazine or newspaper or something. Like right now I do print, but it's only on Letterboxd's online magazine journal, so it is digital. But I used to write for Willamette Week in Oregon. I would do movie reviews, and I would round up what was playing at rep theaters, and it was always just extra special to like see your name in print and like see your words in print and be able to hold them and like show your mom like, look, my name's in the paper. There's just like something very, very special about that. So I mean, I hope it will survive. It's not looking good. Like, journalism is a little bit cooked, unfortunately, because it's so crucial and important, especially in an election year. But we're getting dark. I don't want to go down that route. I guess my answer is I would love for print to stick around. I would love for us to come up with new ways to keep it fresh and like worth it and like worth the cost of it. I'm hopeful, but I'm also kind of realistic about the chances.
Totally. And then I guess my two-parter to that being that you're all over the place in your schedule and like you have those two sides of your job. What, I guess, is a typical week or a day to day?
Oh yeah, it like totally changes. That's what I love about this job, is that I'm doing something completely different each week. Like, some weeks it's like I'm spending the whole time just like prepping for a major interview or something. And so then it's just like I'm just at home on my little computer researching or watching things, et cetera, et cetera. And then sometimes I'll be like at a festival and I'll be out and about every day, and like I have to put my makeup on and get dressed and get all glammed up like every night. So it's like flipping back between just like being in my pajamas with my cat on my computer all day to like having to be like glam is like, it almost gives you whiplash, but it keeps my life exciting and interesting. So I don't really have a typical week to week, but honestly, a lot of it is, as I said, just in my pajamas at home on my laptop, to be honest. That is most of it. And then every once in a while, I get to do a carpet thing.
Yeah. Okay, I got another one. Unless you know if I want.
If it's in the same vein, you should keep going.
It's not. It's completely out of nowhere.
Okay, then I got one.
Oh, okay. Popcorn.
So I have a friend who runs a podcast, and
it's not you.
It's not me. It's for a friend. It's friends.
Not us. No,
Yeah.
not us.
And I was just wondering what are some words of advice that you can help them in making a podcast, making a successful podcast?
Whoa, that's
For them, not for us.
Not
yeah,
for
yeah,
us.
not
We're
yeah. This is definitely a
successful,
real
yeah.
friend. Yes,
We're up there. Yeah. They're trying to make it. Yeah.
So I guess
But they haven't.
They haven't, man. No, they haven't.
They haven't. We
nice.
have.
That's awesome. So this is tricky. So we have like a head of podcast guy named Slim. Shout out Slim if you're out there. He's the best. I recommend having a Slim.
Okay.
And
Where can I get a Slim?
yeah, you can get a Slim.
A Slim Jim at the gas station.
Yeah, at the store. Yeah, the
Okay.
gas station.
Okay. Step one.
Please stand
So
up.
yeah, step one is just like having somebody who can handle all of what I think maybe which one of you is the Slim who handles audio and hosting and posting and editing? Who does that?
We've kind of divide and
I do
conquered.
like he does like the pre-production, production, and post-production.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Marketing
all
more than
Slim, I
post-production.
Yeah, you're all
suppose.
Slim.
We're all Slim.
we are Slim.
We Slim.
So so because like Slim handles that stuff, I'm not as qualified to answer because like I just kind of show up and say stuff. But let's see. My advice would be that you can't fake passion. So like just as long as you this is kind of hokey, but like as long as you are truly passionate about the subject and you know stuff about it, because if you're passionate, the knowledge will follow naturally. And so I know that's like kind of hokey, lame advice, but truly just like follow what you're passionate about and the quality will come in my experience. And I feel like, I know we're talking about a hypothetical friend, but you guys are already doing that. This is your passion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you do? I really feel like what more... sorry. I'm sorry. That's not a great answer, but that's my answer.
No, it's not.
We'll let him know.
We'll let them know.
Yeah, just let them know. Follow your passion. And I really mean that, not even just, I know that's such a like boilerplate thing to say, but I do mean it. I
He
do.
appreciates
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe moving kind of towards our classics here, our final two questions. But you know, in a broader way, what is the point of movie reviews? And I think no. At the very end, we'll get to the very end. But what do you think? What is it to you? Is it a marketing tool? Is it like continuing the dialogue that like movies want to start, or is it just a form of entertainment in itself? What role to you, or what fascinates you about that in a quick bit?
I think that movie reviewing is very important for, yes, one, like word of mouth marketing. Like if a film is, if a critic believes in a film, they will talk about it all the time and push it. And hopefully more people will go and support this great film because they've heard great things about it. So yes, there's like that, obviously. But then also for movie history reasons, like in the future, when we look back at a movie, it's like, the reviews are what's going to survive, you know? Like when you want to research something, you're looking up reviews of that old movie to see like what the culture thought about it. What there's also like context. The critic or a good critic will include the context you need to know before seeing the movie as well. So it's like cultural context reasons, preserving film history reasons, helping generate word of mouth reasons. I feel like those are the three main the three main reasons. But I also feel like that history aspect of it isn't as well known.
That's cool. You're like a cultural historian.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
That's cool.
Exactly.
Never thought about that. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, shall we hit them with
The 1-2.
the 1-2?
The 1-2.
What is this?
the first one? 10 years down the line, do you still see yourself letterboxing or work, still doing the same thing, or is there future goals as well that you would like to hit? Or I know you said this is a dream job, so maybe not.
I know. No, exactly. It's tricky because like this is a dream job. I love doing what I'm doing so much. So I would be totally happy if I was still doing things like this in 10 years, but I feel like I would really like to start pushing myself creatively and like kind of following my screenwriting passions a little bit more. Because right now it's like I'm so focused on my job because I love it so much and I want to do a great job. And I'm still learning things all the time because I'm still relatively new into the field. Like I think I've been working there 2 years, which in the grand scheme of things is not a super long time. So I would like to be... I'll say it. I'd like to be nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Screenplay in 10 years. Sure, that's a fun goal to have.
There it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Manifest that.
Thank you. Yeah,
Set
I'll
it.
just manifest it. Not that awards are like super, end all be all. That's why I'm saying Independent Spirits. I'm not saying Oscar. I'm
That's
dedicated
in
to my
15
indie
years.
roots. Yeah, Oscar's 15 years. Come
Yeah.
on. But I really love the indie cinema scene, and I think that that's where we get the really, really important stories, like as we said, past lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and next question being, in 10 years, this is you, we're allowing yourself to talk to you in 10 years right now.
It's a time
What
capsule.
would you say?
Wow. Oh, wow. I know I was warned about this question and I still am like, oh, what would I say to myself in 10 years? Well, I mean, sometimes I think about myself from 10 years ago, from right now,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, if she knew that she would be living in LA, like getting to interview her favorite actors and directors and all these people, like she would lose her damn mind. She like would not even believe me. So it's like thinking about me in the future, like there's going to be so many things that I can't even anticipate are going to happen to me. And there's so much more exciting, cool things that I don't even know. Oh my God. So basically I want to say to future me, what do I want to say? I'm just proud that you're still here and that you made it. And I hope that you have found fulfillment in your career and personal life and friendships. And maybe you have a boyfriend now. That'd be cool. That's sad to say, but I do hope for that for future me.
Hey, manifesting.
I'm manifesting
Manifesting.
it. Maybe you're in a long-term relationship and maybe your cat continued to live and your cat is now 21 years old and
It could happen. Technology
no,
is
he could.
advancing. Yeah.
I met a 24-year-old cat the other
my
day.
God.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it can happen. So yes, hello future me, you and your long-term partner and your cat that's still alive and your Independent Spirit Award. Congratulations, and I'm really happy for you because remember how unhappy we were as teenagers in Oregon? Remember how angsty and like depressed and just like hopeless we were? Look at you now. You go, girl.
And look at you now.
And look at us now
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Work.
We're doing it. Well, thank you so much for being on, Mia.
Truly.
We have,
Yeah.
Thank you for having
you.
me.
we have
is
an
lovely.
outro question.
Oh,
I think, Yannick,
yeah.
I feel like
One more.
you have,
Yannick,
you
come
have a
on.
nice
Let me see
outro
what I got.
question.
Well, we're just gonna open a whole nother.
Can
No,
of
that's,
worms?
Oh.
that's the outro.
This one's kind of lame. Oh, okay. I just saw long legs.
Come on. That's going to be the
No. Okay. No, we're just gonna open a whole nother thing.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that's
Okay.
part
Okay.
of it.
No, hit me.
Oh, okay. So the question is, how is celebrity worship bad for movies?
It's bad because we keep sending influencers out to these damn carpets instead of actual journalists.
There we go. Yeah.
Say it
No,
with your
yeah.
chest.
100%.
We're sending people who have no knowledge of film history, of film appreciation, of journalism, of how to ask interesting questions. We're sending these people to carpets instead of people who have dedicated years of their lives to studying how to ask great questions and to knowing about cinema. And to how to research things also. So that is a huge detriment because, again, like films are a cultural artifact, like it's a touchstone. And in the future, when we look back at the coverage of films, it's just going to be like all these TikTokers asking silly things for engagement instead of thoughtful questions about the art. So that's how. It also makes celebrities unsafe. And I know people don't really, it's like, oh, I don't feel bad for the celebrity because they have so much money and they're famous and da. But stalking is real.
Yeah. People have a right to privacy.
Yeah, they have a right to privacy. So that's another facet. But the influencer journalist thing is...
I don't want to know what Mr. Beast thinks about past lives.
No,
I don't care.
he has other things to do.
Yeah.
Like,
I
let
want
him do
him
whatever
to-
he's doing.
To give people
He's
$1
busy.
million for buying a car
Yeah.
and then crashing it the next day.
That's
what
fine.
I want
Like,
Mr. Beast to do.
do that. That's totally fine. But like, yeah, they don't have to be on the carpet asking questions. You know,
Yeah.
they can be on the, like, I do see them on the carpet themselves a lot, like walking the carpet. But then when they're like asking the questions, it's like,
Like, fine, be on the
Yeah.
carpet, but don't ask the question.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
don't
I
have
get
to
it
People went
for
to school for
exposure.
this. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, like I went to school
Yeah.
for this. No, exactly.
spend thousands of dollars to
Yeah.
ask these questions.
just did a TikTok
Exactly.
dance and now
Yeah,
you're here.
yeah.
There it is. That's all you had to do.
Wait, one fun outro. Favorite songs from both Mamma Mia films?
Okay, so Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. My favorite song is Waterloo, performed by Hugh Skinner.
We love the credit. Okay, yeah, he's.
I love you, Hugh Skinner. If you're out there, I love you so much. You were excellent in Fleabag.
Oh my god.
He's in Fleabag.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I love Waterloo in the second film. And the first film, I really love the sequence where it's like Voulez-vous and Gimme Gimme Gimme.
Yeah.
And
Great.
Super Trooper. It's like all like it's bop after bop after bop.
A little
that
name
whole
of the
stretch.
game also in there. They slip it in.
Yes. I really like that. Like when the dads are at the party.
Yeah.
And like they're like ripping their
"Sophie!"
shirts off.
Yeah.
And they're like, Sophie, I'm your dad.
Yeah. So good.
That's I really like that sequence.
Justice for Under Attack being taken out of that sequence as well, though.
Yeah.
Justice for Under Attack.
That movie should have been 3 hours long.
Period. I so agree.
It really should have been. Oh, but honorable mentions to Does Your Mother Know? And Mamma Mia, the titular. Oh, and Dancing Queen. Damn, every song
I
is
know,
good.
so good. I know.
And honorable mention to Colin Firth going, I can still recall
Yeah.
last summer.
No. Exactly. I'm
Keep going.
transported.
No, that's all I can
That'd be
do.
our outro song.
That's the only.
You just sing
That's
us
all I
out.
can do, you guys.
That's
That's
so
all.
good.
I don't want to take the spotlight away from Colin Firth. But yeah, shout out Colin Firth too. I know you're out there. I'm gonna get your 4 faves one day, Colin Firth.
This was an Indieknot Films production, edited by Hayden Garrett and sound provided by Harrison Garrett. If there's a subject you'd like us to dive into in a future episode, or if you have any other feedback, email us, indieknotfilms@gmail.com. Please support us by rating and reviewing our show.